You know, I always worry that maybe I don't do enough YouTube content, but I guess I'll just go with the flow whenever I can. Get it? Go with the flow. Oh, yeah. Sorry about that.
The filming Daniel.
Hey guys, it's Daniel here, back with a new review, and today I'm going to be reviewing an animated movie that maybe not a lot of people have heard of, but once you hear that name and then you realize what it is because of the Academy Award win that it won, you'll be like, oh yeah, I remember that. That's a very interesting process for making a movie. Today I'm going to be reviewing an animated movie made entirely through the free software of Blender, which is an animated adventure silent movie called Flow. So the premise of Flow is that it follows this cat who lives in a forest, and the cat just keeps to itself and doesn't interact with any other species of animals unless they're hunting for food, because a lot of the other species don't seem to be getting along in this forest. However, things certainly take a turn when a great giant flood of water surrounds the forest and it starts flooding the forest. So now all of the land is underwater, and the cat manages to survive the flood but has to get onto a boat where other animals are trying to survive on it. And it basically just follows the cat as it tries to survive with the other animals against the flood and different kinds of species of animals and the forces of nature. So when I first heard about this movie, I was, yeah, okay, that looks interesting. I mean, maybe I won't watch it straight away, but it looks interesting. Then I hear that it was apparently made entirely through the process of Blender, which is like a free animation software. And I was like, wow, I wonder how much money they put into making this movie. And, you know, it took a long time. I heard it has a very long production process, and it ended up actually winning Best Animated Feature at the Academy Awards. So I was like, okay, I guess I'll probably give it a shot one time. So I thought, you know what, I haven't actually seen the movie yet, so why don't I watch it and review it for this video? And I have to say, after watching Flow, I have to say, oh my god, this movie was, like, so impressive. It was so captivating, and you're glued to the screen throughout, and I loved it. I have to say, if I had to, like, kind of describe what it is, it's kind of like if you took, like, a lot of, like, apocalypse survival shows, like Walking Dead, Last of Us, Maze Runner, and many shows about characters surviving together, and mixed that up with Castaway, and it's painted with the kind of atmosphere and style of a anime movie, whether it's be by Studio Ghibli or by any other company, but mostly a Studio Ghibli movie. Then I guess you have Flow, but instead of like drawing animation, it's like CGI animation, which, speaking of which, let's get to that first thing. The animation I thought was so stellar. Like, it kind of has like a bit of an anime style to it. It's not like the most fully rendered animation in the world in some scenes, but honestly, I didn't really mind. In fact, I think that kind of added to kind of like the down-to-earthness and kind of like low budget but still high quality storytelling scale that this film displays, thanks to the writers and the directors and the animators. And I thought that the animation looked really great. The forest looked so beautiful. The water, like there's so many shots where you see the water covering the whole land that, in my opinion, looks like something out of a beautiful painting. And without giving anything away, there is a shot near the end of this film where I feel like the kind of look-alike to a gorgeous painting really came alive, and it was just, oh, it was gorgeous to look at. One of the best things about this feature, in my opinion, is the fact that this film has no dialogue at all, which, come to think of it, I actually come to realise I'm reviewing a movie that's not like at the same high praise popular level as films like The Wild Robot or Inside Out 2 that came out last year, but it was a part of the best animated feature category, and it's a silent film. Doesn't that kind of remind you guys of when I reviewed Shaun the Sheep the movie? Yeah, I just realized, and it's an audio review that I'm doing right now, so kind of like similarities a bit, although the only difference is that this film has won an Oscar. But I'm getting ahead of myself. What I'm trying to say is that this film has no dialogue. It all focuses on the facial expressions and movements and unsurety of the animal characters, or animals I should say. And in my opinion, I think that's one of the best techniques you could have for a movie, especially like a drama survival movie. You just focus on the facial expressions of the characters, and because these are animals, we get to see like so many realistic and kind of expressions and feelings that we can clearly see on screen from animals that honestly felt like animals in real life. Like the cat, for example, the cat character who's the main character. Whenever that character would look like shocked or shy or scared, or they move around and they like kind of have like these reflexes and speed, it reminds you of real cats, because the cats have very high senses, like really high, well done reflexes, and I think that they demonstrate that very well with Cat. The energetic nature of some of the more positive characters in the film, like the dog and the big bird, which I can't remember what species that bird is, but it was very, very endearing and very captivating to watch. And the story manages to grab all of these characters and give them various obstacles and situations that they had to work together to get out of. Like whenever it would be like a different animal species, or it would be the boat slowly drifting off course because of the water and maybe even a storm. And you see many moments where these small animals need to actually come up with big ideas and big plans to be able to get out of the situation. I mean, the cat, I think, despite being, well, a cat, it's actually very, very clever because it guides the other animals about what to do, and it steers the boat whenever it can. So I really like that about the cat. And also, just hearing those cat noises that come out whenever the cat is scared, it's really adorable, and I actually felt a deep kind of emotional worry about if the cat was going to make it out to safety, and I really wanted it because you don't want to see a cat get hurt. The dog character, I think, is very admirable too, because it has like the optimistic nature and the energy of a regular dog, and I guess you can consider the dog kind of the heart of the team. The kind of I don't know what it is, like a meerkat, or maybe I'm getting it wrong. If I get some of these animal names wrong, I apologize, but the one animal that likes to keep things to itself came off as a very endearing but also kind of funny comic relief. The slow animal that sometimes likes to fall asleep kind of came off like a wise mentor. And the bird character also came across as a wise mentor, but there's something very mysterious about this bird. And I don't want to give anything away, but that was like very, very shocking, but it also made perfect sense. But in my opinion, one of the major things about this movie that I actually really, really admire, and I found it to be very exciting and very like gripping to watch, is seeing different kinds of sides of different animals and with different species having to put their differences aside and work together to both survive out there and to make sure nobody feels lonely or left out, and they can give each other the right kind of help or advice and even protect them from predators. I really, really liked this kind of moral storytelling because you can kind of relate it to people of different ideologies, people of different races, people of different cultures, and how they can come together even though they have very different ways of living life or kind of like different things. The differences won't affect how they can actually grow closer as friends. And I think that the way that this movie presents it, without even saying a single word, like, this movie doesn't even have a single word, so it doesn't even have to like tell the message to the audience. You can gather what kind of story or real life kind of allegory this movie wants to explain by yourselves. And when this big reveal comes out at the end of the movie that gets found out, again, I won't spoil what it is, but you can almost say that this thing happened for a reason so that it can get these animals of different cultures and different species to come together as one, because at the beginning of the movie, a lot of the animals were kind of just separated and didn't really like each other, but later on in the movie, they start to come together and be kind of like a group of animal friends, and you can say that this thing that appeared because of this twist came here so that it could get these animals to come together. I think that, man, just reading into like the different themes that this movie wants to explain without even knowing it at first, when you start to think about the twist, you start to think, oh my god, this happened because we're trying to have these morals, and I think that it made perfect sense. And I think anybody that wants to, like, I think this is another one of those movies that you can really study and start to gather in information yourselves, and you can admire it so much more. Man, guys, this movie was like not what I was expecting at all. Do I think it's not as gripping as some movies where there is a bit of dialogue but not too much? Yeah, I will admit, because as much as I really like this movie, I feel like that there are other movies that I feel like are, in my opinion, I like a bit more. But in terms of like better movies for people to check out, I think this is definitely one of the better movies for people to check out. And come think of it, I can't really see anything wrong with the movie, but I think it's kind of like Adolescence, where I can't exactly give it the grade that I thought I would give it because I don't have any problems with it. However, I will say that this movie was so captivating and I was very intrigued by it. The characters were very likable and also very like sympathetic, because we don't want any harm to come to these animals. The bonds between our characters are so admirable. The themes about different people of different races and different cultures coming together is very admirable, and something that I think the modern world needs nowadays. And the subtle storytelling that is not even explained to the audience, but the audience can gather themselves. I mean, I definitely thought of these kind of ideas myself. Makes the movie so much better. In fact, I feel like I'm only scratching the surface of more of what the kind of themes and different allegories this movie wants to explain. So one day, I would definitely like to watch it again to find even more stuff to love about it. And I think that this is another film that, in my opinion, people need to go see immediately. And as much as I'm unsure about if there's any other animated movies that properly deserve the award, this is the one I feel like definitely deserves the award the most, and I'm happy it got its Oscar. And that's why I'm going to give this movie 4 3/4 stars out of 5. It's definitely a near perfect movie, and I hope to watch it again so that I can actually give it a 5 out of 5 and find even more things to dig deeper on and love about it. And if you haven't seen this movie yet, definitely go check it out. But anyway, what do you think of Flow if you've seen it? Do you love it? Do you hate it? And what's your favourite animated silent film? Let me know in the comments section below. I really do hope to get more videos done, and I'm Daniel, reviewing movies, TV shows, and doing videos. Till then, peace out, man.